Alright, I've completed every step along the way to make the CRUD for uploads. I've decided on having a single list page, which has a method of uploading, and then to a preview page. Now the thing to know about Blazor uploading is you need to actually increase your request form limits and request size limits. If you don't do this, you're going to run into the issue that you're going to get an anti-forgery exception, which is really weird because it has nothing to do with anti-forgery, unless anti-forgery encodes content length and things like this. Anyway, I set file limit to 60 megabytes because I thought it was reasonable, and anything above 60 megabytes I'm probably going to have to upload in chunks anyway. Then another thing to note is that when you're using Blazor static server-side rendering, you have to actually use an input file, but then set the name itself, not bind anything. And you can do this in a bunch of different ways. So I have, you have the option of writing out your actual path to the specific property like this. But what I've done instead is create this get property path function, which, by the way, I would suggest the developers of C# to add in as an actual compiler function. The same way you have name of, we need to have like a property path or something because it's very useful. If I go into the function, I'm actually just using expressions to get the full string literal of the property path. One thing to note, by the way, about the request form size limits is that this is actually for Blazor itself. Your web server is still going to have its own configurations, so security configurations for how long a request can be, so be sure to check that. Now, I'm not going to talk about actual security needs during uploading because there are a whole bunch of things that can go wrong with uploading. One of them is that someone uploads too slowly on purpose, someone uploads too much, too many times, that someone uploads a file with a particular MIME type that's not really the MIME type, someone uploading an executable but dressing it up as a PDF, for instance. All of these things require you to verify the files yourself. Now, I'm on an administrative dash panel, and I assume that for now, I just wanted to get the CRUD working, so this is not a big deal. But you really should look into how to verify and how to store files. Don't allow the user to specify the file name, and then you also storing the file name as the user provides it. Never trust the user. So here's the panel itself. It's unfortunately it's a little ugly, and I'm actually willing to pay anybody that wants to come and help out the design of this. Just feel free to reach out to me in the comment section or send me an email. You can find my email on endelon.com. Now the way this works is literally the bare minimum. You can go and browse for a file. I'm gonna go into pictures here. Let me just upload my current background wallpaper, which is from Pexels. I hit upload, and it's actually added to the bottom here, and then when I click view, it goes to the preview page, which makes a request to my storage service and actually shows the file. There's only one particular issue though, is that file previews in of itself is also an entirely different project. Remember guys, every time you add a feature to your web application, you need to dedicate your time to it because there are more edge cases and things to think about as you're building it out. So even though I have a basic CRUD here, if I go to my WMV video and I click view, I can see that it's not loading. And it has something to do in particular with WMV files. I don't really know what, but now you have another edge case to look after. As an example, here's an MP4 file that actually does work. And so if you want other... And that's really it. That's the basic CRUD version. Now, I was going to make an update post function for the particular individual upload file, but one of the things I really think is important about file uploading is keeping the state of the file exactly as it was during uploading. And then when you want to provide a download method, at a later point, you can actually override some of these settings like the file name, etc. You might be wondering why I don't have a delete function yet. This has all to do with the fact that I don't really know how to link assets and files together. What I mean by that is it's maybe possible that someone buys the product asset and I happen to remove the file for that asset, and then maybe the user can no longer download it. I don't really know if I want to build a link system. I think initially I might actually add the ability to delete generally. Just allow you to delete files at random, and then if the user can't download a file, it is what it is. For right now, I just had a placeholder called unassigned. And that's really it. That's how to do static file uploading using Blazor. If you really want to know the actual implementation detail, you can hook up your iForm file model, and then you can actually use that as a stream, an open reading stream, which I then redirect to the actual upload service for files. This is also where I provide, for instance, a file stream from a file directly on my computer. And you can provide really any stream that you want, even a network stream. And that's really it. So now that the basics complete, I have defined all the basic functions for file uploading and for file viewing. And now really what you would focus on is cleaning everything up, because obviously after you make your first program, as I always tell you, make it as horrible as possible, make it a war zone, because you're going to find out little things that you needed and add back in. And if you keep polishing your code as you're trying to get the initial function to work, you are wasting a lot of time and energy on this. Now I know for a fact that all of this works, except the WMV file viewing, and so I can actually focus on extracting the parts that are repeatable, implementing dry principles, maybe getting even higher atomic functions, like for the services. Maybe there's something even I can split off even more. But to be very fair with you, I've already defined very simplistic atomic functions that I need specifically to get this to work. I have a storage server with upload, get size, delete, create downloadable link. Ironic I have the delete, by the way. This was just to test it on the CLI. And for the upload service itself, I have list, get, create, delete, and create link. And this is to disconnect the actual storage mechanism from how I want to process uploads in the server in general. And this is important because, like I said, you want to pre-process files before they actually get uploaded to a storage mechanism somehow. And so if you disconnect the two, you can now basically inject any middleware into this process which you want. I'm saying middleware, but what I really mean is any code in between. Don't over engineer your program. I saw people using a mediator, the mediator design pattern at the very start, because you can make complicated behaviors by having like these preconditions and post conditions. But all of this is pointless if you have no conception of what your code should actually be. So make a mess and then fix it. Oh yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention in the video is that this does not cover advanced file uploading. Advanced file uploading is not even processing the files. It's also doing uploading files in chunks. It's how to detect if a file has been partially uploaded because of system failure, how to recover, how to retry. All of these things are very important because there is a disconnect between the storage mechanism and the database context, and if either of these services aren't working or disconnect or break halfway through, you need to be able to recover this process. Otherwise, you have either a broken database record or a broken file on your storage server, or you're creating an entry somewhere, for instance, that is not recoverable but doesn't even know it has to be recovered. And another important part is that you can think about, for instance, invoicing for someone to make a payment. There are many steps of failure, so you want to do the minimum work possible and keep track of the work you did so that you can always recover this process and most preferably initially undo the process to begin with. So don't even think about recovering a file, just think about removing all of the entries and data that were used if something happens to be corrupted or breaks.